Republican leader Kevin McCarthy has set the vote for tomorrow to oust Congresswoman Liz Cheney from her leadership post. That may be a foregone conclusion at this point, but it is important to remember what Liz Cheney actually said, what Liz Cheney actually stood for that was so wrong in Republican eyes that they need to push her out. She put out this statement about the January 6th insurrection when she said, "The President of the United States summoned this mob, assembled the mob, and lit the flame of this attack. Everything that followed was his doing." She also said this.
We need to make sure that we as Republicans are the party of truth and that we're being honest about what really did happen in 2020 so we actually have a chance to win in 2022 and win the White House back in 2024.
And in an op-ed in the Washington Post, Cheney laid it out this way. "History is watching. Our children are watching. We must be brave enough to defend the basic principles that underpin and protect our freedom and our democratic process. I am committed to doing that, no matter what the short-term political consequences might be." And that is the inexcusable crime that Cheney seems to have committed, voting her conscience, speaking the truth, and standing up for democracy. Not bowing to pressure or to any one leader. That is not what leadership in the Republican House looks like right now. That is the upside-down reality that they are living in. Joining me now is a former congressman, former Republican. He left the party over Trump's efforts to overturn the election results. Paul Mitchell. Congressman, thank you for being here. You left the party over Trump's refusal to accept defeat in 2020. Now you have Liz Cheney about to be expelled over telling the very same truth that you stood up for. What do you think of this moment that we find ourselves in?
Well, Kate, I felt in December I had no choice but to leave the party, given that other leaders in the party simply weren't standing up and telling the truth about the election, and were supporting what turned out to be the big lie and, in my opinion, led to the insurrection in January. Liz is right. She's standing for the right principles. Unfortunately, these days in the Republican Party, it's not conservatism that matters. It's loyalty to Trump. And I don't think that blind loyalty is a healthy thing in our democracy. It simply is not. We ought to be loyal to our Constitution, to principles that we have. But blind loyalty to someone whose level of narcissism, frankly, is extraordinary, is simply not the answer for our country.
Look, Congressman, you and Liz Cheney, both conservatives, both conservative voting records.
Yes.
You served with her. What do you think is driving this for her? Why is she the person kind of standing up in this moment? You were that person in December before the insurrection. Why is it Liz? What's driving her now?
First, I think it's a belief in what is right. And I haven't always agreed with Liz, but I will give Liz credit that she's always stood for what she believes is right, what she believes in principle, regardless of the cost. And she's disagreed with President Trump and other things in terms of foreign policy. I think that's the first thing that drives her. The other is I think there's a longer-term political interest here for her and for our nation that when we figure out how destructive this is, we're going to need leadership that will help lead this country. President Biden said it. We need a healthy two-party system. I'm not sure we don't need a three-party system, but I'll settle for two competitive, healthy parties. And right now, the Republican Party is not healthy.
Thinking of political interests, and these would be short-term political interests, I want to ask you about Kevin McCarthy. I want to read for you how he kind of described this moment in a letter to other Republicans just yesterday. He wrote, "We are a big tent party, and unlike the left, we embrace free thought and debate. All members are elected to represent their constituents as they see fit, but our leadership team cannot afford to be distracted by the important work we are elected to do and the shared goals we hope to achieve." What do you think of Kevin McCarthy's role in all of this?
I just think Kevin's primary interest is achieving the gavel. He will do almost anything to get the gavel, to become speaker. Short of throwing his mother under the bus, I think, to be absolutely honest with you. Unfortunately, the drive for political power, for that prestige for some people is extraordinary. And I think in this case, it's overwhelmed the best interests of the nation, of members of his party, and will not be long-term good for the country. The irony is, Kate, I believe that even if the Republicans gain the majority in 22, he will not have sufficient votes to win the speaker's role. I don't believe he will.
Do you think this could backfire in that way?
Absolutely. Absolutely do. It's one more indication of even his allies, even people close to him, if you get in the way, he will throw you under the bus. It's not the first time it's happened either.
Cheney, she was asked that she would not support Donald Trump if he ran in 2024. Look, we're looking at hypotheticals, but it is a statement about beliefs and what you stand for. You voted for him in 2020, if I remember correctly. Would you vote for him again?
Yes. All I can say is, oh, hell no. Absolutely not. Not for him and not for any of his minions. I contributed a fair amount of money, both through fundraising as well as personally, to a variety of Republicans in both 16, 18, and 20. I will not be contributing to any Republican that supported the overturning of the election. Absolutely not. I won't be supporting that there. I won't be supporting it in the state. So the good news, I guess, is my contributions will be less than they've been in previous years. I certainly will not support Donald Trump or anybody that espousing the big lie to leave this country, or frankly, to leave the House. We need people who stand on principle. And there apparently are fewer of those than you and I would, I think, like.
I think it is surprising many, actually, as it becomes more of a realization. Congressman, thank you very much for coming in.
Thanks very much for having me.